Hey everybody, so today we're going to be looking at some scenes from the popular lawyer-ish show, I'll call it, Better Call Saul. As a disclaimer up front, I've actually never watched it. I know about it, I know it's popular, but I've never sat down and watched it. But I'm looking forward to analyzing some of the adventures or misadventures, as it were, of Mr. Saul Goodman and giving you a lawyer's perspective on what's real and what's not.
Hey, play to the judge, okay? But don't play to the judge. Don't overdo it. Try not to be too cool. I mean, look humble. A little bit scared.
That's also a fairly realistic exchange, certainly, and it appears that this is about to be a criminal sentencing of some kind. We often tell our clients, we give them advice anyway on approaching the judge, because at the end of the day, that's the person making the call. So like you said, certainly tell them not to overdo it or fake anything, but this is, in my experience, an important conversation to have with your client.
Who's that?
It's gotta be his family. Fred Whalen. The guy who died at the travel wire.
I don't know where this scene is going, but at least what it appears to be showing here is something else that's very real. As lawyers, we obviously have an obligation and a duty to our client, but that doesn't mean that we're immune or isolated from what's going on around us, and that somebody is hurt, or in this case died, or lost something valuable to them. And even that, our guy isn't always the good guy, and we have a job to do, but we're human too, and it can weigh on you, as we're seeing right here.
That's right, Your Honor. Witness tampering. I have reason to believe that the prosecution's key witness was coached by a private investigator who was hired to pervert justice.
Does the prosecution have a response?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, it seems a person unknown to my team may have interacted with our witness, causing her to call Detective Roberts and amend her statement 2 months after the initial interview. This only recently came to our attention, and we are vigorously investigating. In light of the extraordinary violence of the crime and the fact that Mr. de Guzman is a foreign national with no ties to the community, we ask that the court recognize him as a flight risk and as a danger to the citizens of New Mexico.
All due respect, Your Honor, but the witness is not just one small element of the state's case. She's the only witness tying Mr. de Guzman to the murder scene, and she's been manipulated. Furthermore, the claim that Mr. de Guzman has no ties to the community, that's just patently false. Mr. de Guzman has deep ties to the city of Albuquerque. I'd like you to meet his family. Your Honor, my client is the only father that these kids have ever known. They depend on him. How can you possibly see fit to separate this beautiful family?
I've seen that argument used a number of times. Sometimes it works, sometimes it gets some leniency. Other times, judges have pointed out that a loving father who commits serious crime isn't thinking about his family at all. So it's a roll of the dice, but it's certainly an argument that gets thrown out there.
I accept the defense's argument that bond is warranted, but considering the severity of the charges, I will set the amount at $7 million, cash only.
What that means is that Mr. de Guzman, in this scenario, literally has to come up with $7 million in cash if he wants to get out of jail. There are various types of bail, and if you are having any issues with that, you can certainly call us at Cornerstone and we can help you or tell you more.
$7 million?
Yes, and I am so sorry.
I can do that. I'm gonna need you to pick it up.
What, me? I'll call you.
As theatrical and Hollywood as that seems, I know longtime criminal defense attorneys who could tell you very similar stories in terms of requests from their clients. The DA, knowing what she knew, did the only thing she could do in terms of the potentially contaminated witness, which was, acknowledged that they had just learned it and that they were investigating. Again, sometimes you just got to play the cards you're dealt. Again, if the family was not his family, I've never seen anybody attempt something so brazen, but it certainly happens. Desperate people do desperate things, and unfortunately, that doesn't always exclude lawyers. All in all, I thought that was a fairly realistic depiction of how those types of scenes and those types of arguments go. Of the scenes that we looked at today, that one's probably the most realistic kind of across the board.
I want to get down to brass tacks. I want to be very, very specific here. This illness, what does it feel like?
There's a tightness in my chest, difficulty breathing, and pain, burning pain. The pain spreads everywhere.
Oh, sorry about the exit signs. I guess they couldn't kill those for you.
Well, they're not drawing much current, and they're far away. Intensity drops off with distance, per the inverse square law.
Okay, whoa, inverse square. I'm not a physicist. Could you dumb that down a shade for me?
Saul may not be a physicist, but it doesn't appear that this other gentleman is either, so normally you would need an expert to explain what he's about to talk about.
Can you feel more current coming from any particular direction right now? From that back wall? Or from over there? Or up through the floor? Can you tell us where the nearest source is right now?
He's asking a lot of questions at once. This is known as asking compound questions, and it's typically not allowed.
Jimmy, do you have something in your pocket?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. My cell phone. From this distance, you should feel it, and you don't.
Just as I thought. There's no battery in here. You removed the battery. That's a sorry little trick, isn't it?
Yeah, you got me, Chuck. Dead to rights. I removed the battery. Objection.
Sustained.
There probably would have been an objection much earlier than what we saw here. Although, however, I'm honestly not sure that our buddy Saul did anything wrong.
Could you reach into your breast pocket and tell me what's there? Can you tell the court what that was?
A battery.
Mr. Chairman, please.
You recognize that man in back? His name is Youthful Babineau. He's on our witness list. You bumped into him in the stairway. He'll testify he planted this fully charged battery on you over an hour and a half ago.
Hour and 43 minutes.
An hour and 43 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Babineau.
There may be some objection to getting Mr. Babineau's testimony in while he's not on the stand, but all in all, a pretty neat trick that I think could work.
It's a trick. It has
Enough
to.
is enough. I submit that Mr. McGill's mental illness is a non-issue. If he were schizophrenic, it wouldn't take away from the fact that the defendant...
am not crazy! I am not crazy. I know he swapped those numbers. I knew it was 1216. One after Magna Carta, as if I could ever make such a mistake. Never. Never. I just couldn't prove it. He covered his tracks. He got that idiot at the copy shop to lie for him.
Mr. McGill, please, you don't have to go
You think this is something? You think this is bad? This chicanery? He's done worse. That's billboard. Are you telling me that a man just happens to fall like that? No, he orchestrated it. Jimmy, he defecated through a sunroof. And I saved him. I shouldn't have. I took him into my own firm.
This little breakdown here is one of Hollywood's favorite things to depict witnesses doing. I have to explain to clients that it almost never happens. You almost never get the dramatic breakdown. And we work hard as lawyers to prepare our witnesses not to break down like this, because you can see what's happening to our poor witness here.
But not our Jimmy. Couldn't be precious Jimmy, stealing them blind. And he gets to be a lawyer? What a sick joke. I should have stopped him when I had the chance. And you have to stop him.
And that's why we don't want our witnesses melting down on the stand. So there are certainly some potential ethical issues there. You would have to do it carefully. However, impeachment evidence is very real. Would that work in real life? I'm not sure, but I'm not saying it wouldn't either. It's definitely a clever trick.
If we were all held responsible for what we did when we were 19.
I don't know about the public restroom, but I can tell you lots of lawyers have practiced what they want to say in the shower, at home, in the bedroom, in the mirror. That's pretty spot on.
Now, these three knuckleheads And I'm sorry, boys, but that's what you are. They did a dumb thing. We're not denying that.
I appreciate what he's doing here. A lot of people are afraid of admitting any kind of bad facts or ever looking bad, but the truth of the matter is sometimes we're all human, or in this case, we're pretty much kids and we make mistakes. It can be a more persuasive argument than people think.
Fact one, nobody got hurt. Not a soul. Very important to keep that in mind. Fact two, now the prosecution keeps bandying this term criminal trespass. Mr. Spinazzo, the property owner, admitted to us that he keeps most portions of his business open to the public both day and night. So, trespassing, bit of a reach, don't you think, Dave? Here's what I know. These three young men, near honors students all, were feeling their oats one Saturday night, and they just went a little bananas. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I don't think they deserve to have their bright futures ruined by a momentary, minute, never to be repeated lapse of judgment. Ladies and gentlemen, you're bigger than that.
I love that. Other than the impromptu sidebar to opposing counsel, which really wouldn't have been allowed, you know what I know of this case, I think he nailed that argument.
Where'd all the blood go? He's dead. They suck it all out. Awesome. Where did they put it? All right, I'm through the net phone now.
I guess what I'd say on that one is sometimes as lawyers we got to work with what we got, and it's not always pretty and it's not always easy to get around, but you got to the cards are dealt. And although I can sense how that jury probably would have gone after that, I still like the effort that our friend Saul made.
Is the person who robbed you present in the court today?
Yes?
And could you point him out to the court, please?
There.
Let the record show that the witness has identified the defendant, Mr. Saki.
Your witness, Mr. Goodman.
Thank you for coming in today, Mr. Harkness. I just want to clarify a few things from your testimony, if that's okay.
Okay.
So, you were working at the Sandia Mart the night of the 30th, is that correct?
Got in at noon, left at midnight.
This, in my opinion, is one of the most effective ways to begin a cross-examination. Let the witness believe you're just clarifying their testimony, have them confirm what you want them to say. It makes it much harder for them to back out of it later.
So you say, a man came in and he reached across the counter and, quote, he grabbed up the money from my register and run off.
Yeah.
And there was no one else in the store.
Not at that time, no.
You feel confident that you can identify this person. That's what you're saying.
I can. Absolutely. It's him, your client.
Are you sure that's the person? There's no doubt in your mind. Take your time.
I don't need time, that's him.
Now, would you be surprised to learn, Mr. Harkness, that the person you just pointed to is not the defendant?
What?
And my client is in the back of the courtroom.
This probably would not work, largely because at the beginning of each trial, the counsel and their clients are required to identify themselves for the court. So had this doppelganger, the defendant, misidentified himself at the beginning of the trial, that would certainly cause some problems for Mr. Goodman.
It's early. He's a bartender down in Berlin. He has a very good alibi for the night in question.
Your Honor, objection.
Oh, Mr. Goodman, really?
You didn't recognize him either, Your Honor.
Yeah, I just like I said, while some of these antics may or may not have worked, that's the one so far I have the biggest problem with. It's amusing, it's good TV, but it's not realistic. So we saw a lot of entertaining and sort of semi-educational tricks and antics from Saul in these clips. I think the witness tampering scene was probably his most realistic. I think the battery in the pocket, probably the least, because while I'm not sure he did anything wrong, I've never seen any kind of sleight of hand tricks like that ever pulled. So I would still give that one maybe a 6 out of 10 on the realism scale. And The witness tampering, probably a 10 out of 10. With the tricking the court, actually, the tricking the court is probably the least realistic because he would have needed somebody to lie to the court about who was sitting next to him. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 10. And defending the teens, still pretty close, 8 out of 10. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching and laughing along with these clips the way that I did. I hope I was able to teach you a few things. I hope you got something out of this. And as always, if you find yourself in any real legal trouble, don't call Saul, call Cornerstone, and we'll help you out.